Framerate Pulse of the Earth is an immersive artwork. It's about landscape scale change, both in nature and human-led change.
Framerate Pulse of the Earth is this incredible new form of time-lapse cinema, actually, and it allows our audiences to bear witness to the world in a way that they've never ever done before. You'll see time unfolding in front of you in a way that's impossible to see with your naked eye or through the lens of a traditional camera.
It's a piece of R&D that was curiosity in the studio about whether we could capture time-lapse, whether we could use 3D scanning to find and manipulate and see the world in 3 dimensions and in time. And so this curious piece of R&D has been running for about 3.5 years, and we're now here able to take people into that experience and show people some of the amazing things that we've seen. This is a mindful piece about taking away some of the anxiety that we all see in our lives with change. This is about a moment of reflection, about calming things down and really taking that time to look and perceive and spot those tiny little things that always kind of add up.
So Framerate unfolds in a darkened room, and inside that room there's a whole series of screens arranged above, around and below the audience. So in a way, each screen is like a portal into these different sites. So every single screen around you is showing a different perspective on the same location. Some of them are detailed. You might look down and look at a screen on the floor and there's individual pebbles moving around on the ground. And then you might look to the right and there's an entire landslide happening. Between the different screens, we play with pace, we play with changes in scale, and we play with perspective onto these landscapes. We're trying to take our audience on this journey that's, really showing the beautiful and the terrifying things that are happening on the planet and that are caused by us.
Since starting ScanLab 10 years ago, we've been using spatial data to tell important stories, whether they're social or climate related. We've been to the Arctic scanning sea ice. We've also been to the jungles of Guatemala scanning Aztec temples. And it's amazing that our data and our stories can go much wider than our studio. We've had the pleasure of working with some incredible collaborators over the years, whether they're sea ice scientists from Cambridge, broadcasters like National Geographic and Sky, or news outlets like the New York Times or The Guardian. Being able to take our information and our creativity and take that to millions of viewers is an incredibly rewarding and satisfying endeavor.
The tool that we use at ScanLab is 3D scanning, like it's kind of there in the name, but we really believe that this technology is the future of photography. So I guess as the future of photography, this is the technology that will be bearing witness to the world, bearing witness to us as a species, and bearing witness to the planet. Our background in architecture kind of gives us this unique way of using the technology as a really kind of true form of documentary making almost, but it's documentary with this kind of added element of huge creativity as well.
Framerate's been years in the making, and there's been dedicated teams around the country who've been methodically scanning the same place every day for weeks, months, sometimes years.
The dedication from our team, come rain or shine, come storm, come snow, has just been really epic. This kind of monk-like existence, almost going to the same place every day and seeing with their own eyes what's changed in this landscape, but then also recording it through the eyes of these machines as well. Environmental concerns are at the core of what we're trying to show in Framerate. We're trying to show people the world changing, either naturally or because of us. So if we take the quarry, for example, you can see us carving away at the surface of the earth. You can see these kind of enormous machines like devastating a landscape, but also kind of only scratching at the surface of this enormous planet. There's a whole bunch of subtle but intentional connections going on between the sites as well. We see people harvesting trees, and then we see timber being processed. We see scrap metal yards, and we see construction sites, which are kind of massive users of construction material. Likewise, we see quarries, and then we also see sandcastles being built. And the journey of Framerate Pulse of the Earth, there really is a peak moment as well in the installation. And that's when humans kind of really directly come on the scene.
I think we're about to face some really dramatic changes in our lifetimes. And as a new dad, the world I'll pass on to my children will be measurably different to the one I grew up in. And with all that anxiety, having something to think deeply and calmly about what's coming, I think shifts us to a place that we can help focus on that and achieve that. We don't want this to be a strongly worded piece about the climate. We want people to come to some of that own association themselves. And by doing that in a gentle way, I think remove some of that anxiety that we're all feeling about the climate. And so it is about change, but it's about hopefully changes that will allow your mind to make, and about changes you can make in your life.
So I think the thing that I'm most proud of about Framerate is actually the way that people explore the experience. And I feel like it's a generous piece in the way that it allows people to spend time with the content and to move for themselves in the way that they want to. And they can get obsessed by a detail in this piece, or they can let it kind of wash over them. But I guess that's, for me, that's really the coming together of like these true documentary stuff. This is the real world as you've never seen it. But it's also the coming together of the design intent of the piece. It's a spatial thing that you go inside and you occupy and you move around and you choose what to look at. The intention behind Framerate is to get people thinking in a different way, to show them things that they think they know from a whole new perspective and through the lens of this whole new tool. That's the way that I think we can change their perspectives and make them leave this room with a new kind of, it's not even an insight, it's like a new feeling about how the world is evolving.